Hi, friends. Welcome to Race to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite sized wisdom nuggets with easy to follow practices to live a better life. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. All right. Hello and welcome to Race to Rise podcast. Thank you for being here for each and every one of you. Today we have someone special with us and you are going to love this because have you ever heard someone say it's all about moms? Have you ever been to a corner where you actually feel like you're being seen, you're being heard, and you're being understood? Well, if not, we have someone who just does exactly what I just mentioned. Let's welcome our today's guest, Haley. Thank you, Haley, for doing this. And thank you and welcome to our show. We can't wait to hear your wisdom and, just learn and have a conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and just chat and have fun.
I actually honestly have to ask you that your page, you're super hilarious, first of all. And at the same time, you're like with your memes, you're bringing the reality on the page. That's actually who we are, the messy buns and, just sometimes it's just like the realness or rawness that you bring. I really love that about you. And, there are so many days when you actually make me feel like, oh, she gets me, all about the mom life, the motherhood. And right before we started actually recording, we were talking about how what we've seen with our moms, like, who were just housewives and they were home and taking care of kids. So we kind of acquired that dream as like, okay, that's what maybe, stay at home mom, that's what probably we're going to be. But we both have such a supportive partners and we're kind of in the same, this whole creator phase and creator, industry. And so I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to get to this wherever you are right now as a creator?
Yeah, so it started really last year in the spring of 2021. I remember it well because it was on Mother's Day. And I had two very little ones, and I just felt like I was just not able to properly express myself. In a group setting, I'm not super talkative and bubbly, and I just felt like I had so much in me that I wanted to talk about and share, and I just didn't know where. And so I just was like, started seeing people do these like reels. I didn't really know what it was. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put myself out there. It was just who followed me at that point was just like family and friends. So it was kind of awkward, but I kind of was like, I don't really care. I'm just going to express myself because I really need to. I was in a really bad spot. I just felt like I was on the back burner and I needed something creative and free to express myself. So that's really what got me started was just that desire to be able to put my voice somewhere because I was having a hard time doing that in my personal life. And I just wanted to share like genuinely like real stuff that I deal with that are and normalize it because I was like, it's so normal to deal with this. But why aren't more moms talking about it and sharing this? And the more I did, the more moms I saw were like, hey, I deal with that too. And you just are like, oh, I'm not alone in this. So, I mean, that's really how I got started. And it just kind of has grown from there, just building this great mom community of just moms that are just there to support each other, not just me. I love seeing that other moms within the community are really like being there for each other too.
That's so wonderful. A lot of times I think, and I learned this through, in my journey that as moms, we think that we actually don't think about our basic needs. Let's just put it that way. Just because we're moms now, we're like so much into our kids, and taking care of the kids and nurturing those little, those human beings who are part of us and, who actually chose us to be their, parents. But there's this basic need of us feeling creative. And, like as kids, we're into that playfulness. And as we grow, like, I think we forget that that is one of our needs to be creative. And I'm so glad that we have such a, like, amazing platforms like Reels, TikToks, Facebook, whatever that is. Like, so it all has good and bad, but at the same time, it's how we use it instead of it using us. And so I actually also have to say that I'm so glad that we're in this generation where we have this creative outlets where we can actually be more and, just share and just do something. And instead of like, feeling like I'm being judged. And it actually also enhances our confidence. So that's what happened with me. And so
Absolutely. It really does, because you realize, like, "Oh, I can voice something and people agree with me and support me on that." And like you said, like we social media, like even 10 years ago wasn't what it is today. I mean, back then, to be creative, it was like, can you paint? And it's like, no. It's like, well, then you're kind of limited on how you can express yourself. And now it's just this whole other way that you can just put yourself out there and find other people that just really resonate with you and encourage you, and it just builds you up. It's wonderful.
it sure is. And that's why I think I love, how you mentioned earlier that you really wanted to build a mom community. We don't have like on a daily basis, as moms, when do we get a moment to get out and see a next door neighbor, right? It's just like so hard. But now with our social media, we at least have that we can connect with another mom.
All over the world, you can connect with moms. It's the most incredible thing, and just learn about them in different cultures. And it's just a whole other way to connect because, yeah, it's hard to make play dates work all the time. But this is different and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it also like opens up new channels of creativity, opens up channels of deep conversations. And I feel like you know, there's always goodness in if we want to look at it that way. But I'm glad that you're doing it because how would I have otherwise I would have found you, right?
Right. We never would have met in life if we weren't on
If
social.
it wasn't right.
Yeah.
One thing I actually have to bring out just to even just laugh it out that I never felt so seen until I saw about your laundry concept. Like, yeah, it takes 8 days for me to put my laundry back on where it goes.
There's one lady that has said that she actually enjoys it, and I'm just like, "How? Like, let me learn from you. How do you enjoy it? Is there some technique? Because I will avoid it at all costs. I will just like, eh."
And I have so much support. Like I live with my mother-in-law, my husband. So he and my mother-in-law, they always take care of the laundry. All I have to do is put my laundry back and just mine and kids, like just, put it back in the closet and wherever I need to hang them. It legit takes me a week. Like it'll literally stay.
Is having to put it away. I'm like, "I will throw it in the wash. That's not a problem." It's having to
Exactly.
go hang it up and put it in the drawers. That's the part where I'm like, "Ugh."
And I felt so seen. I was like, "Oh, man, she gets me. She actually gets me." But I have to say that, I used to think, and I still think sometimes, that putting laundry away is waste of my time.
Right? Like, we're just gonna wear it again.
So I actually wanna ask you from that what do you think, that we do all day and not consider it as a waste of time?
Something that we do all day.
Yeah, as moms.
I think something that we could do all day and it not be a waste of time, I always say, is just enjoying simple moments, making those memories, because a year from now, I'll remember that and not so much the laundry that's in my closet. However, maybe that's not obviously it's not realistic to just focus on having fun and making memories. Like we have a life to live, but I would say like that would be one thing throughout my day where I'm like, that wasn't a waste of time to take that time with my kids and go do something, even though I neglected like my whole house. But that's just something that I'm always like, I mean, 10 years from now, I'll remember that day, but I'm not going to remember what my house looked like or anything, you know?
Oh my gosh, I really love that, and I have to second that and I don't get to share that much on the social medias or anywhere because I'm never home. 11 hours a day I'm out. And so when I come, I have my corner of recording, so I don't get to share the entire or I don't get to share the realness of life, but my house is mess. And you know what? I rather sit with my kids 15 minutes each then clean up the messy living room. And so I totally have to agree with you that I prefer connection time with my kids rather than making sure that my house looks neat and, perfect and, everything at its spot because I'm not going to remember that from year from today. So,
You won't. You won't, and it's like within 5 minutes, it's a mess again. So, obviously you clean your house at times and that's great, but I am not one that I'm like, it's gotta be clean all the time. I'm like, it's a waste of time, honestly. Like, I'd rather go make memories, spend time with my kids than make sure it's like constantly clean.
there was one time I actually was having a just like on podcast, I was having a conversation with mom and she was like a color psychologist. And so she would tell you like what colors to have our kids' rooms and stuff like that. And something sparked in me and I was like, wow, you know what? I really don't want to design my home as per societal standards. Like the living room has to have a TV here, it has to have a couch. Rather, I'm just gonna, if my kids needs to create a messy corner over there, I'm gonna create a messy corner for them.
Oh,
Whatever
yeah.
works for them, right?
They're home. Yeah.
And so I think that is such a valid point that you brought, like, yeah, there is a need and time for, of course, to keeping our house clean and not dusty, or, that way it's not unhygienic. But at the same time, I don't need to have, like, okay, let me just organize this. I'd rather spend time with my kids. Choose that. So I'll be honest over there. I totally agree. From that, I really want to ask you that as a mom, what do you think is like a one lesson that you think the mom role has taught you and you think that everyone should learn at some point in their life?
I would say boundaries. It's a big one for me, and it changed my life when I really started just putting my family first instead of what other people around us maybe wanted or expected, and just being like, "Okay, I know you do it one way, but my family, we're different, and we need to do it this way to function properly." Learning to say no. Sometimes, when my kids were much younger, I would have to just cancel on play dates and social events because I was so overwhelmed. And I just had to do what was best for myself and my kids at that moment. So I would say boundaries, but I feel like even if you don't have kids and a family, like it's just an important thing to just have those boundaries.
I have to say that is such a like I honestly didn't learn that, as a new mom. It took me good about 6 years when my first one, turned 6 years, and I only had one child till then. It's like that's when I became pregnant second time, that's when I started saying no. And I cannot, I couldn't agree more that since I started putting the boundaries and saying no to the things that are like I don't feel like joyful anymore and I don't want to be part of, it actually feels a lot lighter. And there's no pressure that I have to meet someone else's expectation because you know what? That's not serving me. Would you rather me be at your place, not happy, or would you rather me just, be in my own space and not show up with like a not a good mood?
Yeah. I mean, true supportive people will want that for you and they'll understand. That's what I always say. I'm like, listen, if don't ever give up on the mom that is canceling because she probably needs the most support, honestly, because she's probably really overwhelmed. Give her space, but also check on her. Let her discover those boundaries. Don't just be like, well, she didn't come the last time, so we're not going to invite her to anything else. Just respect each other's boundaries, be supportive, try and be understanding, even if maybe you don't think the same way exactly. But, everyone has their different boundaries.
I really love that what you mentioned about that we create this whole idea that she didn't come last time or she didn't come to these events. Let's just forget about her. I feel like that's kind of like a myth that we create around people and personality. Like, I don't think she likes to come. Let's just not invite her. Instead, let's just like, let's support her because you never know. You never know what she was going through last time and she might be ready. She might be actually looking to come out again, but she probably is feeling little ready now to join, the social meetings. So I really love that you're bringing. So I feel like that's something like a myth that we've created in like a judgmental myth about people and personalities. Like that's how she is. I'm not gonna create. What do you think? That's a common myth about motherhood in your opinion.
So this one, I don't know, maybe a lot of people will be like, oof, but just I feel like growing up, I had this idea that once I become a mom, I'm gonna feel fulfilled. That I will just feel like fulfilled. And I was talking to my husband and I just told him, like, honestly, like, is that bad that I don't like I need something else? Like I have my kids and I'm thankful, but I need I'm not content just being stay-at-home mom. I need like another outlet to make me feel more fulfilled. And I feel like that's not something that's talked a lot about. When you're a mom, you are grateful that you're a mom, you are fulfilled. Those are the things that people tell you. And there's just I was never told that you might not feel fulfilled. You might feel like you still need to do other things besides being a mom. So I think that's a big myth is that you will feel fulfilled once you become a mom.
Wow. That's so true. So initially, well, I had no choice but be stay-at-home mom. We had a business, like my mother-in-law had a business, my husband had a business, so I had to help out with the business. But I also had a child who didn't speak. He was really delayed. He was like 4.5, but he still didn't speak. And so, that was my first choice initially because I was in college up until he was 2.5. And then I decided to stay home and in that time when because initially I was still in college, so it didn't feel like, yeah. But when I started staying home, I felt the same. It's like, "Oh, I want to do something. I'm not meant to just stay home. Just because I'm mom, it doesn't mean I cannot choose a career. Or just because I'm a mom, that doesn't mean that I don't have my own dreams and desires. And, I don't have to choose one or the other. I can choose both. And so I'm so glad that you brought up and you're right, it's not really people don't really talk about that because I also like I grew up in a culture where moms had no choice but stay at home because it was all about just dads providing and that's all I saw. I saw just, men's dads working and women staying home and taking care of the family and home. And so I guess that's probably why, it's also not talked about and it feels like but it's just like, that's not true. We don't have to do it just because we're a mom, we don't have to stay home. We can invest in our passion, invest in our dream, do whatever you want. Like I have such a fulfilling career and I thought this is it, like mom and I have a great role. And then I said, no, this is not it. I have a really safe and, stable career. And I was like, no, I think I want to do something different. I want to do something more. So I'm like switching to, coaching now. So I feel like it's so important for us to talk more about this, that it's okay for you to want to achieve a dream, for you to start a business, for you to start a side hustle, for you to, do anything that you want.
Yeah. And it doesn't make you a bad mom that you
For
feel like
sure not.
have something else in you. I grew up the same way where it was, like I said, stay at home mom. My dad provided, and that was kind of the expectation for me. And so growing up, I was like, okay, once I become a mom, I will have this feeling of this is what I want in life. And it was like, oh wait, but I still feel like I need something else to do. And I just really loved bringing in income and contributing also in that way. It made me feel more fulfilled to be a mom and to do that. So, but some moms just want to be stay-at-home moms, and I think that's amazing too. I just think it's important that we just respect each other and how we're fulfilled is what it comes down to, you know.
I really like that you brought that point because, we're not, it's not about shaming or it's not about shaming or making other moms feel guilty. You do you, whatever works for you. I know I needed a creative outlet and I cannot be stay-at-home mom. I know I've tried it and it doesn't work for me. So that's just my choice. But, if that works for you, I am rooting for you kind of a thing, right? I am celebrating you that amazing and really good for you, It just our choices doesn't make us good or, it doesn't make us good or bad. It's just this is what works for me and my family. You know, that's okay. You're completely fine. And this is what it makes this is what fulfills me and this is what works for us and I'm okay with it. This was, I'm glad that you brought that point. So again, yeah, we don't want to shame or guilt anyone. It's just this is what we're choosing.
I have found that all moms are, we're different humans.
Yeah, we're unique. We're all unique in our own
We
ways.
all are moms, but we're unique and we all mom differently. And so I've really been being on social media has helped me more with that understanding. Like no one mom's exactly like me. And I need to just make sure I'm supportive of them and hope that they'll be supportive of me and my choices. And I'm still trying to figure it out. So I hope people are patient with what I choose. And, you know, it's all about just being supportive and kind to one another and not pushing our opinions too hard on other moms is my
For
thing.
sure. I actually love the point that you just brought up that, I feel like because of social media, we can see unique moms. Because otherwise, we've idealized, that this is how a mom role works. But now, we get to see more and more. And so it's like, yeah, there's like so much uniqueness, in the world. And it's just like so amazing to see. And so, like you said, let's just be kind to each other, support each other and, with our choices, because that's what works for, we make the best choice is available for us and from what we know. When we know better, we do better and we keep doing better. And so while we're still figuring out, like, how you're saying, I'm still on that road too. And I think I always call myself that I'm a student of life. So it's always work in progress. We'll keep learning. I really have to ask because I always wished that someone would ask me, and because, you share like so much realness as mom, I really want to know your point of view there. What would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life?
Well, kind of what we talked about. I think if I, years down the road, look back at this time in my life and just remembered myself as being a stay at home mom, stressing, cooking, cleaning, and not having something for myself, I think I would really regret that. And that's why I really do try and prioritize what I'm passionate about. It is a balance. It's always hard. I've been struggling with like finding that balance between like pursuing my passions and doing everything I do on social media, making sure I'm the right mom. I'm not perfect at it, but I do feel like it's important because I want to know that I made an impact for people. That's a big thing for me. So, I mean, that would be my answer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I have to answer because, I always wished and I always want to know more about this specifically. Like, what would make you feel regret? I actually read this book beginning of the year called The Midnight Library. If you've never heard about it, like you might want to check it out. It was all about regrets. And so since beginning of the year, I've been thinking a lot about what would, make me, feel regret about not doing something or being certain way or having something. And I really have to, like, I'm in alignment with what you're saying. I have to say that, I would really regret knowing that I didn't try my best in pursuing my dreams and my passion and my, working towards my purpose. Because I also feel like it is my responsibility to work, live my purpose and live my passions because I want to show my kids that you can dream too and you can achieve your dreams. And so I really want to model that it's okay. It's not selfish to, have a dream or work on your dreams. So that's one of the thing like I feel like it is my responsibility to model that pursuing my passions and show them like you can do it as well. And so I would highly regret if I don't do that, if I don't give my best in doing that. But I really love, Haley, that how like real and raw that whether you share the content or, your realness here with us. Thank you. Before we let you go, I want to ask you where can the listeners find you online?
Yeah, so they can find me on Instagrams, mainly where I'm hanging out. And my handle is Daily Mom Vibes. And it's just pretty straightforward. I just share fun stuff. Sometimes it can be serious. It's kind of just whatever I'm feeling, but it's all real because mom life is fun and hard and serious. So I try and share just kind of all aspects. It's really just what I'm feeling that day is usually what you're gonna see. But there's a great community there, wonderful moms all over the world gather there and we're just all friends and hang out and support each other. So you're welcome to come join us.
Yeah, I know. I really so if you want to know, all mom life, you don't want to miss Haley's page. We're gonna have her handle and all the details in the show notes as well. But Haley, and of course, don't forget that, Haley does post like really cool memes too about mom life. And so I actually love those too. But thank you, Ailey. No, this was amazing. You actually are really fun to, chat with, and you brought like such a great wisdom and the realness, a realistic life from a mom's perspective, and who's trying to live her, who's working on living her own dreams, passions, and at the same time making sure that she's setting boundaries with, with other people so that she can be what's best for her and her kids and, take care of her mental health at the same time, not worry about putting the laundries away. So that is Haley in short for us.
I love it. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for listening to us, and stay tuned because every month, the last Friday of the month, we bring moms and dads like Haley who are, you know, doing everything and, sharing the realness on the social medias, and at the same time, they're playing the role of a parent, mom or dad. So we love having you moms here and, share your perspective. So thank you, Haley, for so much for being here, for your conversation, for your energy, for your time. This was amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's it for this week's episode of Race to Rise. Be sure to sign up to our email list at risewithmittal.com and join us again next time for more wisdom about life, kids, and everything in between. I am Mittal Patel, wishing you happy raising and rising.